here's Brody Brazil.
So if I just said we've got a Bay Area baseball team that's being threatened by relocation, you obviously know that, yeah, I'm talking about the Oakland A's. But what if they are not the only one? Yeah, literally another Bay Area stadium issue. I'm talking about the Tampa Bay Area, technically St. Pete, and the Tampa Bay Rays, who are also not very far behind the A's in this saga of pursuit, obviously of the ballpark, but now there's Orlando in the mix. It's getting very interesting. It's starting to get very intense down in Florida, just like it is here out in California and Nevada. And there are so many similarities between the A's and Rays, and not just because that rhymes, but they're having each historic 2023 seasons. Like the A's historically bad, don't even have double-digit wins yet. And the Rays don't even have double-digit losses yet. They're having a historically great season so far. You could also say that both these teams play in the two worst major league facilities that are out there right now. Maybe the way to put it is worst indoor stadium and worst outdoor stadium. There's no question about it. They also have now each another city greatly pursuing them. And Las Vegas is definitely further down the road, but you got to take Orlando and what they're coming out with quite seriously right now. More on that in just a second. Neither one of these teams with the stadium issues, they're not new issues by any means. This is kind of a saga that's been going on certainly longer in Oakland than it has been in Tampa, but none of this stuff just cropped up. This has existed for quite some time. And obviously both of these two teams are a little bit in this rushed situation because Commissioner Rob Manfred has said he can't wait for Major League Baseball to expand by two teams. And to do that, you've got to settle these other two teams down. You can't expand before you figure out locations of the two existing teams in question. So a resolution is needed here, and both of these teams are kind of feeling that pressure and that time crunch. Okay, enter the Orlando Dreamers. Was it kind of last week when they had this announcement and debut? Orlando Magic co-founder Pat Williams is one of the, I don't want to say few or many, but one of the several people behind this. I believe he's in his 80s, been around, done this before, obviously has some serious influence in Orlando. But their group is trying to attract any kind of baseball they can to Orlando. They have not been very specific. Do you want expansion? Do you want relocation? Like literally the team right down the road. Is that what you're trying for? They're not necessarily being entirely clear. They're multifaceted. And I guess if you're going to go into this, that's probably the smartest approach. Do you want to try and take a team that exists, or do you want to try and get expansion? What are you trying to do here? But on the Rays, here is their quote. "We're here if they need us." I believe, I don't want to say that's tampering, but that's pretty straightforward. They would like to get the Tampa Bay Rays relocated to Orlando. And look, they've come up with some awesome renderings. I mean, yeah, of course, that looks magical. Whatever I'm looking at right there, is that a dome? That's a dome like I've never seen before, glass ceiling, all that just architecture. For sure, like that, wow. That makes me say, wow, what is that, like a shopping mall connected to the ballpark? I mean, this is a departure from what the A's just announced with the Tropicana hotel site. I mean, that's 9 acres. This looks to be like 50 acres when you add in that entire development. I don't know the lay of the land right there, but that is clearly a lot more than 9 acres. And yeah, look at, I mean, that is like literally a shopping mall out there in center field, that long stretch. It looks very cool. And obviously you'd have to have something like that for the temperature and the climate of Orlando in the summer and the humidity. So yeah, that's going to make me say, wow. It's renderings, but it's going to make me say, wow. 45,000 seats. Whoa. Which is also a departure from the A's announcing 30,000, right? A dome stadium, no retractable roof, fully domed, retail and offices. They want to put 1,000 hotel rooms along with this project. They're saying the total cost, $1.7 billion, which does seem low, all things considered, other projects that exist. And they are requesting $975 million of public money. Did I forget to put the M down there? I did. They're not just 975. I could help them out with that, barely. $975 million of public money is what this project is asking for. So to be clear, and those of us in California, maybe we're like, well, is Tampa, Orlando, maybe it's not a big deal if they just move. We're talking about two totally separate markets, 105 miles apart. And let's be clear, the drive from Tampa to Orlando is about, it's a 90-minute drive. But Orlando is well known for tourism, right? All the theme parks from Universal to Disney, a couple other, is there SeaWorld Orlando too? Orlando gets a lot of guests, 74 million tourists per year. Now, we know with the A's, the Las Vegas pitch, tourism, draw tourists, 400,000 new tourists a year. But Las Vegas gets, this is Vegas, gets 40 million, which is a lot and sounds like a lot. But Orlando gets 74 million. And I'm also here to say that demographic of tourists to Orlando, probably a little bit more family-oriented and friendly than Las Vegas. I don't know if you're taking a family of 4 to Las Vegas all the time, right? Kids, all that stuff. Like bachelor party, Las Vegas. Family vacation, Orlando. So these are two totally separate markets. Let's be very clear about this if you're not familiar with the geography. And on the note of tourism and pushing that really hard, the Orlando Dreamers literally word for word say this: if only 4% of Orlando tourists attended just one game, that alone would be enough to result in the number 6 ranking for MLB attendance for the season. Now, does that also include locals going? That language is not clear to me. 4%, but 4% is a lot. Look at 4 out of 100 people that are going down there specifically to go see Mickey Mouse. Are they also going there to see the Tampa Bay Rays or the Orlando Rays' latest slugger? And you know what? I don't like that I just did that. I don't like that I've pressured a team because, we'll talk about that in just a second. But it's interesting that baseball teams are angling their approach with tourists now. They're not even going after their own market. They're saying, we're going to go here so that people can come visit us. Is this a new fashion? So what about St. Pete, which, by the way, they're the Tampa Bay Rays, but their stadium is in St. Pete proper. Their mayor at the end of January, Ken Welch, he announced the decision for a partnership with Houston-based developer Hines to help redevelop the area's historic gas plant district. That is where the current Tropicana field currently sits on, a project which includes affordable housing, a hotel, and Tropicana Field. So that's kind of the scenario of where the Rays are at right now. The gas plant district, which they've got land, they've got the ability to do it. This feels like the Oakland Coliseum site all over again. However, this one seems a little bit more refined and with more potential. But then there's the Ybor Harbor site. Now that is in Tampa. Oh, and look, a waterfront ballpark. That's what everybody wants to do. Problem is with the Ybor Harbor site, and I hope it's one of those words in my mind. I'm not from there, but I've heard it plenty of times. Ybor Harbor. Ybor. I'm trying. With that harbor site, they just came out with renderings for a development that did not include a baseball stadium. So it's unknown whether that move is possible, likely, feasible. A lot of questions about that. And obviously the Rays are now being kind of shoehorned into, okay, we're going to keep you here at this site. We're going to rebuild this. We're going to build it up. We've got a brand new idea and a brand new project. But obviously a lot of people think that, hey, if you just move and, St. Pete to Tampa, not a big deal. St. Pete to Orlando, they're moving out of the market. So here's what the plan is at the St. Pete site. And by the way, the Rays have a lease at Tropicana Field until 2027. So that's why time is pressing here, because what do you do? How do you make this project start by 2028? You can have something seamless, but that's also why you can see Orlando's jumping in the mix to pressure the Rays and say, well, we could be available too by 2028. And let me just say, Major League Baseball is letting the A's and Rays get courted, and I get it. That's business, and that's how you negotiate, and that's how maybe better things happen for you as a business. But Like, the A's are having a rough season. The Rays are having a great season. The last thing they need is like this distraction of being lured to Orlando. Hey, you're coming to Orlando. You're the future Orlando Rays. I hate that. I wish baseball could protect these two markets, the fan bases a little bit. Like, I get it. And behind the scenes, all this stuff would be going on. But to allow all this conversation, it's not bad for the business, but I don't know that it's favorable among, obviously, people in Oakland or people in Tampa to be going through this. So I'm not calling them anything other than the Oakland A's and the Tampa Bay Rays until something is drastically different. But again, another Bay Area stadium issue. I'm sorry to have to see the Rays also going through this. Hey, you made it here to the end of the video. Thumbs up on that. I greatly appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe so that I can see you next time.